Welcome to another episode of the Untold Stories. Remember, if you are listening to the right stories, then you are listening to the Untold Stories. Today in this episode, we're gonna talk about something that we must search and find out before we leave our mortal bodies. A famous Chinese philosopher has said, we have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. Mark Twain has said, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Both these days that Mark Twain remarks upon are in a sense birthdays. The first one is your physical birthday, that of your body as you enter this world. The second one, a more relevant birthday, is of your mind and spirit. When your mind comes to terms with your purpose in life, it brings your spirit into a state of awakening. And as you go into the journey of life, both become one. Purpose gives meaning to life. Purpose takes you beyond the daily grind and uplifts your very soul. A life void of purpose is a life not lived, a life that is hollow. The Japanese have a word for it, and this is called Ikigai. According to them, everyone has a hidden Ikigai. Finding it requires a deep and often learned search of self. Such a search is regarded as very important, since it is believed the discovery of one's Ikigai brings a satisfaction and meaning to life. Let me tell you a Japanese story. In a small village outside of Osaka, a woman in a coma was dying. She suddenly had a feeling that she was taken up to heaven and stood before the voice of an ancestor. "Who are you?" the voice said to her. "I am the wife of the mayor," she replied. "I did not ask whose wife you are, but who you are." "I am the mother of 4 children." "I did not ask whose mother you are, but who you are." "I am a school teacher." "I did not ask what your profession is, but who you are. Who are you?" "I am a Shinto." "I did not ask what your religion is, but who you are." And so it went. No matter what she replied, she did not seem to give a satisfactory answer to the question until she finally said, "I am the one who wakes up each day to care for my family and nurture the young minds of the children at my school." She passed the examination and was sent back to earth. The next morning she woke at sunrise, feeling a deep sense of meaning and purpose. She tended to her children's lunch and planned fun lessons for her students that day. The woman had discovered her Ikigai. A person without a purpose tries to fill it sometimes with someone else's purpose and finds temporary relief from his own lack of conviction or belief that purpose creates within oneself. This temporary relief is never enough. The danger in letting someone else's purpose fill you up is that it has the potential to leave you frustrated even if you are financially prosperous. One day you wake up and realize that something is missing in your life, and this is not what you wanted to do with your life. Some people believe they need to go out there and look for a purpose. This is false. The fundamental truth about purpose that is sadly not realized by many is that one does not actually find purpose. More often than not, it is the purpose that finds you. Often in life, one's duty becomes one's purpose, sometimes incidental and more often accidental. Regardless of this, once your purpose has been identified, be it duty or passion, you should feel your entire being in such a way that you cannot be dissuaded, distracted or diverted in any fashion, as compelling as these other factors may be. The tale of the pregnant deer illustrates how purpose differs from everything else. In a forest, a pregnant deer was about to give birth. She finds a remote grass field near a strong flowing river. This seems like a safe place. Soon she goes into labor. At that same moment, dark storm clouds gather above and a bolt of lightning strikes the forest, starting a fire nearby. She looks to her left and sees a hunter with his bow extended, pointing at her. She turns to her right and spots a hungry lion approaching her. What could the pregnant deer do? It was too late to run as she was already in pain. Many questions came through her mind in those few seconds. What will happen to me? Will I survive? Will I give birth to my children? Will my kids survive, or we both will be burned by the forest fire? Will I be killed by the hunter's arrow before I have even given birth, or will we both die a horrible death in the grip of the hungry lion approaching? The deer was constrained by the fire on one side, the flowing river on the other side, and boxed in by her natural predators. What could she do? She decides to focus on giving birth to a new life. Here is the sequence of events that follow her decision. Lightning strikes and blinds the hunter. He releases the arrow, which zips past the deer and strikes the hungry lion. Storm clouds open up and heavy rains drop down, dousing the forest fire. The deer gives birth to a healthy kid. In our life too, there are moments when we are confronted on all sides with negative thoughts and possibilities. Some thoughts are so powerful that they overcome and overwhelm us. Maybe we can learn from the deer. The priority of the deer in that given moment was simply to give birth to her baby. The rest was not in her hands. Any action or reaction that took her focus away would have likely resulted in death or disaster. In this story, once the deer identified her true purpose, she decided to focus on it, blindly trusting that in doing so, faith or destiny would play a hand in her fulfilling her duty to her purpose. It is cardinally important that you never stop seeking. We stumble onto something through movement, not stagnation. If an explorer goes to a forest and stumbles upon a gold mine, it is because he got there by starting the exploration. Life is not something that has meaning, it is something that we give meaning to. Everything around us that we call life is made up of people that are not smarter than us. So build a life, don't live one. Never stop seeking. The purpose is not meant to be just found, it has to be excavated. It is like a well. You have to dig deep before you get to the water. Your purpose will find you. Despite the statement that you cannot stop seeking, your purpose will never actually find you until you are ready to be found. Being in that stage of seeking constantly and continuously is how your purpose will find you. It is better to dig a well in one spot going down 50 meters as opposed to digging 50 wells of 1 meter each. It will increase your chances of finding water. Once found, never let go. Just like digging a well, you may take a while before you are able to identify your purpose, but once you have identified it, you need to attach yourself to it like a Fevicol. Your purpose will change your very existence. Your daily life will stop being a grind simply because it has a purpose. Purpose is just the beginning. Your journey begins once your purpose has been found, but it is not the destination. One has to complete the journey. Purpose has to be worked upon, improved upon, applied and developed. It takes a lifetime of experience and excavation. Keep your option open and leave your inhibition behind. Your purpose will find its way to you. So friends, the question is, are you ready to find your Ikigai and your purpose of life? Let the search begin. Remember friends, the ultimate purpose of life is to be happy and make others happy. If you are listening to the right stories, then you are listening to the Untold Stories. And if this episode has matched your wavelength, then share it with people who need it. And just in case you have the time, then you must listen to my previous episode, The Journey of a Butterfly, where I talked about the different stages of change. That's all from this episode. Remember friends, you too have untold stories to tell which can make a difference in someone's life, because certain untold stories are born out of certain lives and certain lives are born out of certain untold stories.